All right, you guys, let's focus. Bell ringer should be put away. Notebook should be out. 1, 2, 3. All eyes on me. Let's look at our objective board. On yesterday, we used models to find equivalent fractions. We used tape diagrams and number lines. Today's objective is to find equivalent fractions using multiplication and division. So let's look quickly at what we did yesterday. Using tape diagrams, we have 1/3, and problem 1 is asking us that 1/3 is equal to what? So in order to find our denominator, we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1/3 is equal to how many 6? In order to figure that out, we are going to shade an equal amount. So we can see that 1/3 is equal to how many 6? Good job, you guys. 2 6. Moving along to problem 2, we have 2/4 is equal to, who can tell me what our denominator is going to be? Yes. Good job, Lisa. 8. And to figure out how many 8s is equal to 2/4, we're going to color in an equal amount. So 2/4 is equal to how many 8s, class? Yes, 4 8s. Problem 3, we have 1/2. Yes, good. Our denominator is 6. So who can tell me how many sections we're going to shade in? Ava, good job. 3. 1/2 is equal to 3 6. Okay, moving along to problem 4, we have 2/5. And to figure out what 2/5 is equal to, first we're going to find our denominator. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, tenths. So 2/5 is equal to how many tenths? So when we shade in an equal amount, we can see that 2/5 is equal to how many tenths? Good job, you guys. 4 tenths. 2/5 is equal to 4 tenths. Okay, also yesterday we looked at number lines to find equivalent fractions. When using a number line, you start with the whole and then you break them into smaller parts. So we went from a whole to halves to fourths to eighths to sixteenths. So although our numbers are larger on the bottom, their portions are actually smaller. Okay? So let's remember that with fractions. The larger the denominator, the smaller the amounts. So we break these into equal parts of halves, fourths, eighths, and sixteenths. We can see that these three fractions are equivalent. these fractions. Okay, they're all equivalent. They line up in the same spot on your number line, which makes them equal. So today we're going to move on to using multiplication and division to find equivalent fractions. So if we look at 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8, these fractions are really the same. They're the same because when you multiply or divide both the top and the bottom by the same number, what we do to the top, we must do to the bottom. The fraction keeps its value. So let's try. If we multiply 1/2 times 2, okay, 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. Following suit, okay, times 2 2's, which is actually 1 whole. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So you can see 1/2 is equal to 2/4, and 2/4 is equal to 4/8. So the rule to remember is change the bottom using multiply or divide, and the same to the top must be applied. Okay? So what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top, and vice versa. What we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. So quickly, if we were to divide by 2, 4 divided by 2 would give us 2. 8 divided by 2 would give us 4. And if we divide again by 2, two divided by 2 gives us 1. 4 divided by 2 gives us 2. So we can see that these fractions are equivalent. Okay, so here, let's look at dividing. We have to choose the number that we divide by carefully, because we want the top and the bottom numbers to stay whole numbers when we divide. So 18 divided by what would give us 6? Braxton, good. 18 divided by 3. So remember, what we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. So 18 divided by 3 equals 6, and 36 divided by 3 equals 12. So let's look. 6 12s and 1/2. They are equal fractions. So we need to say, what can we divide 6 and 12 by to give us 1/2? So we can divide both of these numbers by 6. Six divided by 6 gives us 1, and 12 divided by 6 gives us 2. So 1836 is equal to 6 twelfths, and 6 twelfths is equal to 1/2. So if we keep dividing until we can't go any further, like we did here, then we have simplified our fraction. This is the smallest form of our fraction. Okay? So to summarize that, we can make equivalent fractions by multiplying or dividing both the top and bottom by the same amount. You only multiply or divide. You can never add or subtract to get an equivalent fraction. Okay? Do not forget that, you guys. No adding, no subtracting. Only multiply and divide. And we only divide when the top and the bottom number can remain a whole number. Okay, so next we have Miss White's favorite, Shortcut Susie. So I'm going to show you a shortcut of how to look at two fractions and tell if they're equivalent. And you can do that by cross multiplying. What I mean by cross multiplying is taking the numerator of your first fraction and multiplying it by the denominator of your second fraction. So 3 times 8 is 24. And 4 times 6 is also 24. Because you get the same number when you multiply or cross multiply your fractions, then you know that these fractions are equivalent. Okay, so let's try another one. 1/2 and 4/8. So when I multiply 1 times 8, I get 8. And when I multiply 2 times 4, I also get 8. Which tells me that 1/2 is equal to 4/8. Let's try 3/6 and 1/3. All right, class, help me out. When I multiply 3 times 3, what do I get? Yes, 9. And when I multiply 6 times 1, I get 6. Good job. So is 9 equal to 6? No, it is not. So 3/6 is not equivalent to 1/3. So there you have it, you guys. Shortcut Susie. Okay, in just a few minutes, we are going to play stand upright or sit tight. Okay, so if the fraction is equivalent, we'll stand up, and if not, we'll stay seated. But first, let's rock out to a fraction song.
If there were 4 socks to wear, then we would say there'd be 2 in each pair. And one of the 2 pairs we can declare equals 2/4 of all the socks there. Drawing 1/2 and 2/4 on a number line shows they can be described with an equal sign. An equal value is what they're worth, so we say 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4.
Equivalent fractions is the name for fractions whose values are the same.
Once upon a time, there were 9 canaries on telephone wires sitting down in threes. Each wire contained 1/3 of the bird, so 3 nines is equivalent to 1/3. Drawing 1/3 and 3 nines on a number line shows 1/3 equals 3 parts out of 9. Therefore, equivalent is the word that describes 3/9 and 1/3.
Equivalent fractions is the name for fractions whose values are the same.
If the numerator and denominator share a common factor, then you can divide the top and bottom by the same number. On top and under, and say with satisfaction we find an equivalent fraction. And you can multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. On top and under, which is really a fraction whose value equals 1. And through this action we find an equivalent fraction.
Equivalent fractions is the name for fractions whose values are the same.
The values are the same.
Equivalent fractions is the name for fractions whose values are the same.
The values are the same.
Alright, you guys, we ready for stand up right or sit tight? Remember, if the fraction is equivalent, we will stand up, and if not, we will stay seated. Okay, so 1/2 and 3/6. Great, everyone is standing. Good job. Kirsten, can you please come show me why you think these fractions are equivalent? Good job. Okay, here's to multiply 1/2 by 3/3, which is a whole. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 3 is 6, which means these fractions are equivalent. Okay, everybody stay seated. Ready for the next fraction? Good, everyone seated. Roger, can you please come and show me why these fractions are not equivalent? Okay, good job. Roger cross multiplied and got 4 times 8 is 32 and 5 times 6 is 30. So therefore he knows that these fractions are not equivalent. Good job. Next we have 2/3 and 4/6. Saman, I see you're standing. Can you please come and show us why you believe 2/3 is equal to 4/6? Very good. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Therefore, 2/3 is equal to 4/6. Next, we have 3/4 is equal to 9/12. Awesome, class. Everyone is standing. Elena, can you please come and tell me why 3/4, or come and show us on the board why 3/4 is equal to 9/12? How did you figure that out? Good job, Elena. 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, finally, you guys, we have 2/10 and 4/5. Okay, I see no one is standing. Sophie, can you please come show us how you decided that 2/10 is not equal to 4/5? Okay, good job, Sophie. Sophie cross multiplied. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. And 10 is not equal to 40. So 2/10 is not equal to 4/5. Paige, you're today's helper. If you could please pass out the workbooks and you guys get into your groups.